Christian, we have an audience watching worldwide, all those types of things, and we also are doing this in conjunction with the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. I have an Academy of Sports Media and Broadcasting there. We have a lot of young people that we can influence, hopefully, today with our message. We appreciate your time. First and foremost, I have to tell you, I described you as somebody that back in the day would run anybody over, did run a lot of people over. We enjoyed your work and what you represented on and off the field. We want to thank you, first of all, for coming aboard here today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
And we're talking to you, A, because it's a Super Bowl, but B, in many respects, for something much more important. You, with your style and the impacts, of course, related to the game itself, produced substantial injuries, particularly about the cervical area, the neck, and so forth. Take it from there. You obviously had very substantial need for medical treatment and received it, but in a bit of a unique way.
Yes, in 1989, when I was playing for the Chiefs, I sustained an injury where my spinal cord was pinched. And if you remember, when I played, I had big shoulder pads. That was after the injury, so they put the big shoulder pads designed in such a way that my head will not have any movements. And but anyway, when I retired, my injury was getting worse every year. Finally, last summer, I was getting ready to have a surgery, and somebody said, "Why don't you call this number? You know, maybe they can give you a better help." So I made the phone call, and these guys flew me over New Jersey and assessed my injury. And they told me, they said, "Christian, don't take a fall, don't get a whiplash, or you'll be paralyzed." And the reason why they said that, I asked them, is because my spinal column has closed up. It's closed up so bad that my spinal cord has no movements at all. You know, so they performed the decompression procedure, where they decompress my spinal vertebrae in the cervical area. They opened it up so my spinal cord will have room. And when they did that, they put 2 titanium rods in my spine and 16 screws. You know, so right now I'm walking around like a bionic man, but you know, I'm having a better life, feeling my body back again.
I have to. Back in the day, I was a trial lawyer and used to cross-examine doctors. Let me cross-examine you on something you just talked about. That spinal area, when it becomes more narrow, they call it the neural foramina. It just starts to shrink that area where the cord itself has to basically be in and be preserved. It's terrifyingly dangerous to think about that shrinking, and ultimately the slightest of incidents physically that could have the type of catastrophic result you talked about.
Yes, exactly. And they warned me about it, and they told me that something has to be done right away. And I was lucky enough that they opened up their calendar and did the surgery.
All right, now the people who did the surgery, though, and I want to talk about this because it's a big reason we're talking now. PastPain.com, $2 million of free care provided to retired NFL players. Talk a little bit about who they are and what that's about.
PASS is a group of doctors back in New Jersey. They got together and they donate their time and their facilities to treat NFL players. So what they do is that they perform surgeries and treatments pro bono to the players. Wow. It's free of charge. You know, so I believe now we are doing a fundraising drive right now, and the drive is just for you know, to get the players there. You know, the doctors don't want to be spending money. They're already giving so much time. You know, they don't want to spend the money. We don't want them to spend money. So we can fly players who need help to that area where they can be assessed. You know, sometimes a player will come in with a knee pain or shoulder pain, but these doctors like to check overall health of the player. They draw the blood and, you know, test everything, you know, from prostate to diabetes to high blood pressure, everything imaginable. So they try to find out, you know, what else is wrong. And many times, 90% of the time, they found something, you know. So it's just a great, you know, a great avenue for players to go and get help.
Well, it's a great message as well to get out there about the not only availability but the interest that this organization has and your support of getting those former players out there to get some help. But again, I mean, your pro bono surgery of $250,000 is not the type of thing that grows on trees, so the fundraiser part of it is obviously valuable. I want to ask you a question in a larger context, though. As I'm listening to you, and these people have obviously done a wonderful job, but again, we'll talk about your success or your time playing. A lot of the players we see now surfacing with a lot of physical and sometimes non-physical injuries associated with that career. And it seems to be a very important part of the discussion as we see the labor situation here in the NFL. Talk about really the stance these players have to take, in your estimation, related to players such as yourselves and others who need the help.
Well, as you know, they're talking about adding 2 more games to the season, to regular season. I mean, it doesn't make any sense when 16 games in a season is already providing, a bunch of injuries to players, ending a lot of careers and making people, not being able to help themselves, many guys, you see. So before they can add 2 more games, they need to provide medical for the former players. And, I don't want to hear about, you can keep your medical 5 years after you retire. That doesn't help, because all these injuries actually get worse when they turn 40. So they need to have that medical, for later in life.
Yeah, and, quickly, I see Earl Campbell over my left shoulder, and of course we know that there's a man who ran hard like you and sustained so many injuries, have left him with debilitating circumstances now. And the other thing is, Dan Rooney, of course, chairman emeritus with the Steelers, he fully supports what you just said. We don't need 18. 16 is more than enough. Sit back at the table, get this thing worked out.
It's all money. It's all about money. The owners want money. They want to make more money, but they're making a lot of money now. It's a $9 billion business. Right. I mean, how can you add 2 more games? That's being greedy. Just take what you got right now and make it better.
Right, I totally agree with you. One thing, though, your thoughts on this game, obviously the Steelers and the Green Bay Packers.
I'm with the Steelers.
AFC
guy, man. AFC guy, and also Bruce Arians. He coached me in Kansas City, so I'm pulling for him.
Fair enough. Christian, best of luck. Thank you for being here today and sharing your story in this fine outfit here. We'll make sure we pass it on again.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.